Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Royal Link Up podcast. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope you're having a lovely week. I'm joined today by
Vinnick, welcome. Good to see everybody again.
And welcome, Mass here again.
Fantastic. Welcome, chaps. It's been a while since we've both been on the podcast together. Been a couple of weeks since Felix been on, but we're welcome back. It's all in the Christmas spirit. So hopefully we've got some thrilling conversations to drill into you over the next 45 minutes or so. Just a quick shout out from me. Please give us a like and subscribe. Think we're going to try and still get to 200 before Christmas, but it's going to be a bit ropey, so any support we can get would be amazing. And if you're listening to this on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, a follow would mean the world. But essentially today we will have Beefy along at some point. He is late to the podcast, but we won't hold that against him. The show must go on. So what we're going to do today is kick off by talking about the game of the year on Astrobot winning at the Game Awards, and Vedic's going to touch on a very good speech that also happened. We're going to talk about the numbers that the Switch has now hit in the US. I've been playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, so I can give you my thoughts and feedback on the game. And then we're going to touch on a game that is just launched on mobile that's been a big hit on PC for a number of years. So, kicking off, Astrobot has won Game of the Year to unbelievable surprise. I felt 100%. I thought it was going to be Black Myth Wukong. I think there was 2 or 3 other options that really were going to take it, but I could not believe Astrobot won Game of the Year. And since that's happened, I've gone and watched people play it, and though it looks quite good, it does seem like a bit of a Super Mario ripoff. Don't hate me in the comments too much. But I don't know, have you seen any of the game at all? Were you as surprised as I was with it winning?
Yeah, very much. Yeah,
I've played the original game that came as part of, I think it was released as part of PS5, and it was quite innovative. And yeah, it did actually feel very much like a 4K or whatever it was, sort of Mario game. A very good one. But yeah, I don't think it did anything extraordinary. So,
No.
but as for the new one, I can't comment.
No, it looks like the most polished version of Super Mario 64 in terms of interacting, like coin collecting, jumping over stuff. Like it was quite innovative in terms of its ability to play and its appeal, but I don't know who is voting for that game as Game of the Year.
You think about, if that was odds, you could put a bet on it. That would have had some crazy odds to win.
Yeah, it would have been big double digits. Yeah, for me. So yeah, I think that no one expected Astrobot to win the award. But also at the Game of the Year Awards, there was a fantastic speech delivered, wasn't there, Vedek?
Oh, it's amazing. By a guy called Swen Vinckes. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but he's the developer who won last year for Baldur's Gate 3. And he said, as he came on, I've got a couple of minutes I didn't use up from last year before he announced Astrobot as the winner, and absolutely brutalized the gaming industry by saying next year's winner is going to be a company that cares about its staff, doesn't push developers into producing games that for just monetary value or monetary gain. It's going to respect the player base. It was an absolutely I can imagine the Ubisoft people that just disappearing into their chair, along with the EA owners and all those other companies that just completely do not follow what he said. But it was great. I mean, if that was how gaming moves forward, we're all in for an incredible next 20, 30 years. But whether it will make a difference, who knows? But absolutely fantastic. It's the sort of thing you expect from Ricky Gervais when the Emmys and things he's done in the past. Just absolutely kicking. Brilliant.
Well, I loved it, and I think that look, the indie titles that have come out this year have done incredibly well. But the games industry is primarily ruled by several just big companies. And when companies get too big and they are owned by shareholders don't care about the games. The shareholders are investment banks, they are private investment vehicles, but they are all looking for a return on their investment in the quickest way possible. Games industry never used to be like that. It was all about creative, competitive games, so who could sell the most. But creating an experience that they cared about, and the people in charge, they weren't CEO appointed by a board of shareholders to get extrapolate as much revenue from their player base as possible, and putting games into a state where they're rendered useless as soon as the server is taken offline. And I think that you look at Concord, for example. Yes, it wasn't a good game, but because it didn't hit the sales numbers, it got taken offline.
X-Defiant as well.
X-Defiant, it was the one that we touched on, I think, last week or the week before, that they're shutting down eventually, I think coming off totally offline by June, July next year. But I think that
these big companies, they swallow up other companies as well. You think about going back to Battlefield when it came out, it was originally DICE, and then DICE is suddenly bought by EA. Originally it's independent. BioWare was an independent. All these companies were independents, and they just get eaten and swallowed up by these massive companies. And as soon as that happens, out comes a little dog shit.
Yeah. Well, it's just, I mean, if you go and look at interesting example is like the Command & Conquer series, originally produced by Westwood Studios, and then that EA essentially launched, after buying them, launched Generals and the expansion 0 Hour, and then I think that was basically the last we ever saw of a Command & Conquer game.
I think Command & Conquer 3 was good. With Kane's Wrath, that was all right, but Red Alert 3 was absolutely awful. Also was really poor. I mean, Command & Conquer 4 killed the franchise.
What was the one with the black and green front cover? What one was that?
Siberian Sun? No.
Yeah, no. I think that was Kane's Wrath, I think.
Is it the one? Is it?
Yeah. It had a red cover for the expansion and a green cover for the game, but there was also the one with a blue cover, which was like Command & Conquer 4. I can't remember, it was Twilight or something, but it was so bad. I mean, it killed the franchise. It was done. I mean, they tried to reboot it as a mobile game, but it's all it's doing again is cash grab.
Yeah.
We didn't play 4, did we? At a link up, we played. We didn't.
We played 3 at link up, and we obviously played a whole lot of Generals and Red Alert 2. Yeah. I don't think we played a lot of Command & Conquer original though. I think that was Being and Gone that had, and it was Red Alert 2, Command & Conquer, Red Alert 3.
But,
sorry, Red Alert 3, Command & Conquer 3.
But I do think that there is so much truth in studios buying other studios, and there's a little bit of that worry with Microsoft doing it. Now, Microsoft are letting these studios run to themselves, but all of a sudden a game studio goes from having a small budget to a massive budget, and it's like going, I buy the studio, you've got unlimited funds, but you've got to then create a game that makes us money. So they eventually all just they all succumb to the pressure of being either owned by their new parent company. But there has been some shining lights in indie
Yes,
scene
it has been.
this year, and like my shout out for Manor Lords, which was pretty much created by one guy, and then it got fairly close to completion. He had to bring on a couple of other people, but that was just an incredible, astonishing game. I mean, it's still really early stages, but I think it could go massive. But that that could just be swallowed up by another game studio,
Yeah.
and then the project will probably never finish, or it will come out and it will have
With
buy in-game currency and buy all of this stuff,
yeah,
and then
get
the
this
whole
one.
thing is rubbish. It's done.
Yeah, because you think about these companies, they might have all, I can imagine the Westwood studio, people going, yeah, we've done this is fantastic. And then he go, wow, I want to buy a company and here's this massive pot of gold. And they're like, wow, that's more money we've ever seen before. Let's have that. And then before you know it, it's like selling your soul, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I do think it wonder whether it's more about buying the IP, like whether they then value, for example, when for example, EA bought Western Studios, it was about acquiring the Command and Conquer Generals, branding and stuff like that, with the intention to do stuff. But if they then can't do anything with it, it seems like a waste. But we're not, I mean, it's no different than any other company that exists on the planet with takeovers happen all the time and companies get changed. It's just always a shame when it happens in gaming, especially for a studio that
I
creates.
mean, it happens with movies as well. The amount of times
Yeah.
they buy the rights to make a movie from, say, like a book, then don't follow the book whatsoever, apart from a few little bits,
Mm.
and then wonder why it flops on its face.
Yeah, no, I agree. So as you see, we're now being joined by Beefy. Welcome, Beef. How are you doing?
The children are in bed. We're back. We're back. We're back. So I won't interrupt. Continue, and I will chip in where required.
Oh, good. So I think now what we're going to do is move on to the Nintendo Switch becoming the second best-selling console in North America. Mace?
Yeah, Christmas has come early for Nintendo. Can reveal now that the Nintendo Switch has outsold the PS2, which means it now moves into second place for the second most sold console ever in the United States. Only placed second now to the DS unit. The Switch itself has now sold approximately 46.6 million units against 43 million units of the PS2. So it's a hell of an achievement given the fact that how badly their previous unit was received that was released back in 2012. That Switch U that a lot of people probably may well have forgotten about. But yeah, it's
The Wii U.
the Wii U. Sorry.
Yeah, I think that's it. That is incredible. And I know the unit was popular, but I didn't know it was that popular.
I mean, it's got to be more popular with obviously a younger audience and younger children because I got one for my kids. My kids are under 10 years old, and I look at the games that they've got, and I'm like, they're all terrible. They're as a older gamer, I don't want to play these games by
Mario
myself.
Kart.
Yeah, they're fine as like a game, if that makes sense. Like just to chill with the kids or when you've got some random friends around. But like, I've got no desire to sit there and do 2-3 hours playing Mario Party or Sonic, for
Yeah,
example.
Mario Party or Mario Kart is really for to be all in the room together to play together, sort of split screen 4 player. I mean, I suppose the one thing that's quite attractive with the unit is the price point and the fact that it doubles up as a handheld as well as something
It's
you
still a
can
lot of
play on
money
the
though.
TV.
It's
Well,
like
the
lots of
obviously
money.
buying the games and the extra peripherals, I suppose it can start adding a lot of money on.
We bought the Switch with 2 games and 2 extra controllers, so we got 4 controllers so we can all play together, and it was like 400 and something pounds, and you're like, it's lots of money. Like you're verging on like 1080p PCs for that.
But I suppose it's the target market though, isn't it? Whereas with the PC, I suppose you could do maybe 2-player and stuff, but it's not as plausible. It's much easier, isn't it,
Yeah,
to have the Switch
agreed.
and have that 4-player split screen, and it's very accessible as well. It's just easy just to put the game in and it works. But the sales are very impressive. So it's still got a bit more life in it as well. I'm sure.
Well,
Switch
2 is going. Yeah, Switch 2 is going to be coming out. I've seen people talk about that. There's no official releases of it, but I've seen a lot of speculation about when it might come out. I couldn't tell you a time frame, but I would guess within the next couple of years.
Yeah, you'd think probably 2 years. But as I say, if the sales of this Switch are so good at the moment, then they might sort of try and squeeze a little bit more out of it.
That the only major difference between the one that's sort of out now and the original one is that the new one's got an OLED screen.
Yes,
on it.
that was my understanding. That was the only change.
No, so when I remember, I didn't buy the OLED screen one. I bought the basic one because I was like, obviously, if my kids pick up it as a handheld and then drop it, I mean, obviously the screen's probably going to break, isn't it? And I was like, they don't really need the OLED screen because like 99% of the time it's going to be docked and they're going to play on the TV anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. I have been playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Did you get it downloaded eventually?
I did get it downloaded eventually, all 113 gig. And funnily enough, the game file is bigger on Xbox than it is on PC, which I found quite strange. And it's in several parts. There's like an extra like textures pack that you got to download and install. Anyway, really good game. Really enjoyed it. You sort of start off like the tutorial to like teach you about the buttons and stuff. You're sort of playing it, or you're walking through the forest, and I was like, wait a second, this feels very much like Raiders of the Lost Ark, but with the characters changed. You're sort of walking through the forest, and I'm not going to do any spoilers. Essentially, you're walking through the forest, and it's like the first scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark that you're acting out. And so, like, you go through the cavern and you got the spikes that shoot out from the wall, and then the arrows. Then you got a puzzled floor to go, and then you got the bag of sand that you've got to replace with the sculpture, and then like you have to run out and you're being chased by, and you have to jump over the ravine and you're being chased by the boulder, and that's like your intro stroke tutorial to the game, and it's all really graphically pleasing. But
I wonder how many people who played that tutorial Devastate realize that it's almost a mimic of Raiders of the Lost Ark, because I would imagine most of them are not our age and grew up with Raiders of the Lost Ark. They're probably considerably younger and might not even have heard of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh,
Our experience.
They should have been playing Indiana Jones games, should they?
Say, actually, our experience though is more, well, certainly mine anyway. For Indiana Jones is really watching it reruns on ITV. I think throughout the 90s. So that's my recollection of it.
Yeah, so you start for that, and then you go in the main game. You then wake up in the university where Indy teaches, and you have Marcus. And those who don't know Marcus, he's sort of one of the ambassadors at the school. Marcus Brody. So he's in there, and then they're having a conversation, and then there's go to sleep, and then there's a big shadowy character comes along, and you go through. And do you know what was amazing? They take you through the cutscene, and then you do the flying scene, and it does like the old school flying scene of like you see like the plane going across the map
on the map.
It was, and it's so nice to actually play a game like that. And so you play several different sort of areas. So you do sort of the college that I mentioned. You go and do one around the Vatican. You got Giza, an area in the Himalayas, Shanghai. I think it's Sokutai in Japan, and then Iraq. So you go all around the world, lots of different things to do in each level. The whole game end to end is about 12 to 13 hours of main playthrough, the main storyline. I'm at about, I think probably about 3 hours into it now. But
questions. How's the puzzles? How are they challenging at all, or
no, not at all.
okay? Maybe because
They probably get a bit more challenging.
What the voice is like for obviously
Very
Harrison
good.
Ford. And
Very,
what about
very,
Den Elliott, who's obviously Marcus Brody, because he's been dead a long time.
very good. Very good. It wouldn't actually surprise me if they had used AI to generate the voices.
Cloned it. Yeah.
But yes, they are very, very good. You feel part of the storyline when you're playing it. It's quite funny that in the Vatican level, it's where you actually learn to do a lot more. You do a lot of the fighting. So you have to, on your Xbox controller, you have to use your right and left triggers. So right punch, left punch. You've got your right trigger with your whip, and then you can pick up weapons, and then the easiest way to go and kill an enemy, you got to sort of sneak up, hit them overhead with like a frying pan, or hit them over the head with a bottle or a police truncheon or something. Then you sort of hide their body, and then you sort of go around on like your adventure. But like the way it integrates like the cutscenes to like the predefined sort of playthrough elements, I thought it was really, really nice, and you do feel really immersed in it. And the fact that this is on Xbox Games Pass is an absolute win. So I thoroughly recommend. I mean, obviously I haven't completed it yet, but from what I have played, I'll be playing a lot more of it. Sort of come over the Christmas period.
I was going to say, is there different levels of difficulty? Are you like an easy, medium, and a hard, or is it just there's right? Okay.
Tom had 3 levels at the beginning. I've gone with the intermediate level.
What does it remind you of in terms of other games? Is there anything similar at all?
No, the closest thing it's reminded me of so far in terms of playing it is Tomb Raider.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I when I looked at the trailer, that's what I thought. It looks Tomb Raidery. It's not my favourite type of game, but I love Indiana Jones. So
yeah, it's in terms of a lot of the time where you've got to climb onto a building and then you like shuffle along, hoist yourself up, like to get into places. There is a lot of original Tomb Raider feel about the game,
and a lot of stealth to it as well.
Well, I think you could probably run it through without doing a lot of stealth. So, like, you can hide bodies if you want to, and I started to, but towards the end, I was like, I didn't really need to worry about it as much.
Just punching them and knocking them out.
Yeah, there's a lot of controls on there. There's a lot of things that you can do with your. So you have like guns and stuff, and so you select them by like using the D-pad. It never actually told you that in any of the tutorials, and it was only until later on in the Vatican where I realised I actually have a gun. Like, so there are some bits and pieces that probably could do with a bit more fine tuning, but overall, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. You can play it. I wouldn't say it's. If it had a different character in it, it doesn't need to be Indiana Jones. It could be Lara Croft doing the same thing, essentially.
But it's got those first person aspects though that make it slightly different from differentiates it from Tomb Raider.
Yes, the only time that you go to third person is in a in either obviously the cutscenes, but there's one point where you have to zip line down a telegraph pole. I think it's a telegraph pole, and that like the camera then automatically pans out to the back of the character at that point when you're doing some of the jump moves. So it is really nice. I think if it wasn't titled Indiana Jones, I don't necessarily think that you would go, this is Indiana Jones, without the cutscenes, and if you just played the actual gameplay element of it.
Yeah.
But it
I
was,
assume it has John Williams' score to it, though.
the music is really good. I don't know whether John Williams has done the score for the game.
No, but
It uses a lot of the original music and stuff.
Yeah, as long as it uses his score, because you want the Raiders March in there and things like that, don't you?
Yeah. So, but yes, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's a really, really good game. And I highly recommend it, especially if you've got Xbox Game Pass. If you've never done Xbox Game Pass, you can get it for 30 days for £1, or after that, I think it's £10 a month. And so I definitely think it's well worth playing. That wasn't an ad. It wasn't an ad read. It was a sponsored ad. Fantastic. Okay. Well, the only other thing that we have on our list at the moment is talking about a game that was primarily on PC but has now moved to mobile. And Beef, this is something that you might or might not know about. So ARK Ultimate Mobile Edition has just launched. And you can play on your phone. It's available on certainly on the Play Store and I believe on iOS as well. But interestingly, this, as with all mobile games nowadays, comes with a season pass and a monetized season pass. So, players.
I'm sorry, but how are you going to play ARK on a mobile?
I mean, it barely runs on a 3090.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I've got a 4080 Super, and like, if I try and stream on it, it's struggling. And I've got 500 meg broadband. Like, how is it going to run on mobile unless it's running in like 480i?
Well, the textures will be downscaled. Like everything will be downscaled.
Also, like I'm just trying to think,
downscaled.
like how are you going to do all the different things? Like, I'm just trying to think, like when you're on like when you're on a dinosaur, like, and you want to like cycle through like its stuff, but no idea.
Well, there's only one way we can download. You don't have to pay for the season pass, but of course, with all these things, it's probably pay to win. I would love to see you download it and have a play and report back to us at the next podcast.
I tell you that's a no. But I tell you what, mobile game I have seen, or I've seen it advertised absolutely everywhere over everything I look at the moment. Have you seen it?
Marvel's Rivals.
No. Age of Empires Mobile. I get the adverts for that on absolutely everything I'm on, whether it be on phone or desktop. That's all I'm seeing. And I'm like...
Because that's some studio who's licensed. We talked about licensing earlier. And some studio is licensed to create a gotcha game on... it was like Clash of Clans style game.
Yeah.
Under the Age of Empires umbrella brand to create, and I bet you that is full of in-game currency transactions as well.
Oh yeah, all mobile games are.
What's it called? ARK
Ultimate Mobile Edition.
It's the studio that not Wildcard, because that's the actual developer that originally made it, but Snail bought it, didn't they? And Snail has got a reputation for being an awful company.
It doesn't have any ratings yet on the Play Store.
It's literally just come out.
Yeah.
But the season pass
about it. There's literally no information about it.
The season pass
game.
is $4.99 per month, or $4.99 per month, or $50 a year.
Just to play it.
And that gives you access to all the current and future expansions, monthly bonuses, God Console, which is single player commands, bonus XP, monthly drops of free keys, and exclusive server access.
This game requires additional data to play. You'll be prompted to download an additional 2 gig of data after launching the game.
2 gig.
2 gig.
So, what's the so I've got here the article from them. So it's like, what's the same? So it's the same ARK experience that you know and love from the PC and consoles. Our game brings
Of course
all
it
of
is. I very much know it.
our game brings all of your favourite expansion packs, dinosaurs, boss battles to a mobile device for the first time. What's different? Unlike PC and console, ARK is free to play on mobile devices. In brackets, free to play.
It looks all right.
That's just a still image, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's just a still image from the actual Play Store.
Yeah, but I can upload a picture and I can make it look good. All players gain access to the island for free, where all the gameplay is unlocked without spending a dime. For players looking to expand on their ARK experiences, we have additional purchases available. And there's different keys, different expansion packs. There's loads of different servers. Well, I do wonder where. Well, I do wonder whether there's like almost a minimum spec for the phone. So I'm not being funny. If you bought one of those £99 phones that have got just running base Android on them, they're not going to be able to handle. They can't handle anything. So
yeah, you probably need the latest iPhone and the S24 Ultra just to run it.
It looks pretty impressive, given it's a mobile game. From the trailer, it's very.
Does it say on the trailer whether that's actually gameplay footage or if it's?
I'm watching somebody play it right now on live.
Oh, it looks all right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Give it a go.
I wonder if you can port over. Obviously, if you can log in to your Steam account and then you've got the same experience, or is it a completely different game? I wonder.
I don't know.
Because that would be interesting. If because obviously, my latest Survivor was like a level 100 and something. Because my kids play it. If I could then port over my level 100 on to whatever map or single player or whatever, then that might be all right. But I don't think I'd want to start again because we know what start.
I'm arced out. Honestly, I'm so arced out. I just can't bring myself. I can even bring myself to play the new one because I just played so much. I've just done.
No, my kids enjoy it. They love it because obviously it looks incredible, doesn't it? Especially on my monitor, the monitor I've got as well. But what are you playing at the moment, Vedic?
I've been playing Marvel Rivals.
Oh, of course.
Which is really good. I've been playing Elemental D 2, which is a tower defense game.
That's what Rage has been playing, isn't it?
Yeah. Citizen Side of Empire 2. I've been playing a bit of that. I would say that probably I was playing Civ 6, but I've stopped now because I'm too excited about Civ 7.
I saw today that Civ 6 you can play it on Netflix.
I saw some stuff about gaming on Netflix, and I was like, really? You can play games on Netflix?
Well, they've had very basic games on for about 6 months.
Not Civ though, crikey.
Yeah. Civ 6 is on Netflix. Yeah. Right. Well, I think that is us done for this session. Thank you all very much for listening and watching. Please give us a like and drop us a comment and a subscribe. Thank you all, gentlemen, for coming to join us today.
Better late than never.
Better late than never. Yeah, thank you for finally showing up. But for now, my name has been Devastate.
I'm Beef the Legend.
I'm Vedit. Peace and love.
And I'm Mass Tofu.
Catch you later, peeps. Goodbye.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.